Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mia. Today I have two short book reviews for you. Both of these books I read during the Underhyped Reads Readathon, which just ended today. I will be having my wrap-up video coming up soon, but for now, let's talk about these two books. The first book that I'd like to talk to you about today is The Hoffman's Secret by Alejandro Palomas. Now, I read it in Spanish, but I did some Google research and it is translated in English. The English title is The Hoffman's Secret, and I couldn't find it for sale. Let me know if you do find it, if you're interested to read this book, but I didn't find it on Amazon. I didn't find it in a couple of other pages I looked, but they do have it translated, so it must be on sale somewhere. This story follows the Hoffmans family. Now, the family was originally based on the two grandparents, the main couple. Then they got two children, so there's a girl and a boy. When they grew up, the boy got married and had two children, two twins, one boy, one girl, and their daughter didn't actually got married, so she does not have any children of her own. This family is a family of artists for the most part. The grandfather is a very well-known singer, the son is a very well-known actor, and the grandson is a very well-known dancer. When the twins were very young, their parents died in a car accident. The whole family was devastated after this accident and eventually drifted apart. The grandfather and the grandmother no longer got along due to the blame that they each placed on each other because of their son's death. So eventually the grandfather and the grandmother got separated and the grandfather moved across seas to live in Argentina. The grandparents' only child left alive, their daughter, she dedicated her life to her pottery and to take care of her niece and nephew. Once those two children grew older, they each went on to their own path. Of course, I already mentioned how the grandson is a dancer. The granddaughter is I don't really know what you call it, but basically she dedicates her life to the care of chimpanzees and other monkeys. Eventually, the grandmother gets much older and she gets very sick and needs caring for. So their daughter, the only left child, moves in with her to care for her in her later years. She stays with her mother for 20 years until the day her mother dies. Now, once her mother dies, the family gets together once again for her funeral, and that's when this book begins. Grandparents' daughter, she is struggling with finding herself again after spending so many years with her mother caring for her. The grandfather shows up to the funeral with the intention to tell the rest of the family a truth that he has been kept secret for many years in order to protect the grandmother. And now that she's no longer there, he can share the secret with them, which is causing him a lot of burden. And as he's getting older, he's starting to really need that, truth to be out there and that family to be more united, because they're all kind of separated even though they really care for each other. They're all kind of different people, so you get to experience how they process the information that they gather throughout the story, how they express themselves, how they communicate with each other, and you get to really feel just how much they care for each other. However, it is difficult sometimes for them to truly express it. So you get all of their perspectives. You get the perspective of the grandfather, you get the perspective of his daughter, and you get the perspective of his two grandchildren. It was a very emotional read in a way. It didn't quite make me cry, but there were a lot of scenes throughout the book where I was just kind of choked up and I could feel all of their emotions. So that aspect of his writing I really appreciate. It is kind of a sadistic yet heartwarming type of writing style. It's very poetic at times as well, which I personally really enjoy. So I enjoyed the read overall. I ended up giving this book 3 out of 5 stars because even though I enjoyed it, it was a very slow read, which I was not expecting. I thought it was going to be more mysterious, and I felt that the mystery kind of fell flat. The secret that you're kind of hanging on throughout the story, what you really want to find out, gets lost somewhere throughout the story, and once it's revealed, it doesn't feel like a big revealing. It doesn't feel like this mysterious secret that finally comes to light. They were not necessarily the most unique of characters. As you can see, there's a few quotes in this book that I enjoyed, so I would like to share a couple of them with you. Of course, they are in Spanish, so forgive my translation. However, this is just what I took from these quotes. So this little scene here takes place as they are in the funeral and the grandson asks his grandfather how come his father was able to fit in a casket if he was such a tall man. So this is the answer that his grandfather gives him. He's telling him, as we age, we start to shrink in life, to not bother others, and in death so that we can fit. And I thought that was very interesting. I don't know, it just stuck with me. And this is another one that I would like to share with you today. This is a scene where, again, the grandson and the grandfather are having a conversation, and the grandfather's telling the grandson that his parents loved him deeply, and he's saying that he knows. And his grandfather then says, "No, you do not know, because you were not given enough time to know. Your brain knows that your parents loved you, but your heart doesn't know the feeling. And our memory fits itself out of the feelings of the heart, not out of what you know, but out of what you feel." The other book that I would like to speak with you about today is The Book Collector, and this is by Alice Thompson. The story follows Violet, a young girl who ends up falling in love with a much older man. They get married, they move into this beautiful mansion, and they have a beautiful son together. Her life is perfect. It's everything she could ever ask for. She loves her husband, she loves her child. Her life is just extraordinary. Her husband is a book collector, so he collects books. He's got a beautiful large library, and he's got it full of books, and she loves to read. However, her husband is very possessive over his books. He's almost unhealthily obsessed with his books. He doesn't read them, he just collects them. Those books become untouchable, and he's, like I said, obsessed over these books. He has a specific book which he keeps in a safe, and one day she found that book, and it's a beautiful fairy tale book, but she is intrigued as to why it's in the safe. She finds out the book was dedicated to his ex-wife, I believe her name was Rosa, and she had a tragic death upon giving birth to his child. So both the child and the mother died. And that's when he married Violet. She gets a bit obsessed herself with this particular book. She feels that there's some reason why that book is so special, and it's not just the fact that it was dedicated to his ex-wife. She feels that there's something else that he's hiding from her. And she starts to have this kind of hallucinations where she sees things that are not quite there and starts acting very bizarre, and for a while you are not quite sure what's going on when it comes to her and her mental health. She's one of those unreliable characters that leave you kind of hanging. So the book did have a lot of mystery, and it did keep you intrigued throughout the entire story. It's quite a short book, but it was very, very intriguing. She ends up in a mental hospital. She wanted to go. It was a willing decision because she felt she needed it. She was seeing things that weren't there and she needed help. So she starts going to the hospital. She spends, I think, about a month in there, and once she comes out she feels cured and whatnot. However, her husband had hired help for the house to take care of their son, and she does not agree with that. Girls from that mental institute that she had met during her stay there are starting to disappear and appearing again dead, like their bodies are found later. It was very interesting. I really enjoyed the writing style. I ended up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. The ending of the book left me wanting a little bit more. I did like the ending. I liked how it ended, but I just wanted more. I wanted a little bit more. Throughout the story, I just wished it was longer. I wished it was a little bit more detailed. Because since it's a short story, it was not as detailed. But for such a short story, I think it did meet its purpose, and it did it in a beautiful way. So I would definitely recommend this story. I will try to keep this very short, but I do want to share with you guys a few things that I thought were very interesting. It says, Once I have owned a book, I am longing for the next one. Collecting is a creative art, one of perpetual longing and desire. One is never fully fulfilled. Collectors live in dread of satisfaction. There is a brief transitory moment of satisfaction and then it disappears like dust in the air. We live to long after something. We know and accept the power of longing and desire. We are under no illusion that what we want is the unobtainable. This one is one of my favorites, and it says, many years later, looking back, she was amazed at the capacity we have for not wanting to confront the truth. How the humdrum of our own lives, the security of habit and comfort, prevent us from questioning the clues and hints that the truth gives us. We can ignore them, make excuses, and forget whatever we want. I hope you guys enjoyed these 2 short book reviews, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye!